Nakisa Bidarian, the one and only. I'm graced with this time and I appreciate it, sir. I got to ask you about the elephant in the room. What weight, Nakisa, what weight could they possibly be fighting at? You know, the news broke, Jake and Tank are going to happen November 14th.
Whatever weight they want, man, they're talking about it, and whatever it is, there's going to be a definitive outcome. People can talk about pro, exhibition. We're going to make sure this is as real as it's real.
Why was it, just out of curiosity, why is it not a professional bout and why is it an exhibition? Because I'm sure Jake would have taken the professional bout.
Nothing's been communicated as yet in terms of what it is, right? Similar to, if you remember with Paul Tyson, when we announced it, we didn't have the weight, we didn't have the rules, particularly in terms of the number of rounds, the minutes, the gloves. It's going to be the same thing here.
Gotcha. Can you just offer us any insight as to how these negotiations went? The reason I ask is because I remember back in March, I was at Tank's fight, and after his fight in his press conference, he was asked, next opponent. He said, well, my next opponent might have been in my locker room tonight. And people asked him, was it Jake? He made reference, he made allusion to. Has this been an ongoing thing? And has it ever, you know, been at a point where it wasn't gonna happen and came back, or was this always the plan?
Always been the plan for Jake to fight Tank once Canelo didn't happen. And to Tank's credit, he's a real bad dude, and he's been calling out Jake for 3 years. And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. And now you get to see if that's real. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Gotcha. Knockout?
One of them.
The elephant in the room. What do you know about how this came to be? And then if you can, do you have any idea on what the weight is going to be between Jake Paul and Tank Davis, which was just announced?
Well, considering that I'm one of the guys on the team, you know, we always like to allow everyone in front to be able to release the information as they please. How it came about is like the same way Mike Tyson fight came about. It came out with a conversation. You know, it started out as, you know, someone just mentioning the idea. And if I'm not mistaken, Tank has kind of mentioned something about the fight, got back to Jake, and it was like, I'll do it. And that turned into, months later, a fight that we're all about to watch.
Seriously. I mean, before we even get down the road too far on Tank, how serious, from what you know, were the AJ negotiations? Because that's the most recent thing we heard, that Jake was willing to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, and it seemed like there was motion, and then this.
Well, if you're talking about from a percentage, let's be very honest with you, Jake has mentioned the AJ fight prior to us even having the Chavez fight. AJ is someone he's always wanted to get in the ring with, and so to the public it's new, but to us we already kind of knew. So I knew it was someone that he would fight. As far as how far the negotiations got, that's kind of out of my pay grade, but I do know it was a serious idea, and I do know it's also something that Jake would be interested in doing.
Yeah, why? Do you know why it's not, and I know that's the business side of it a little bit more, but maybe you have insight, why it's, as of right now, because Nakisa said that's fluid, but as of right now, it's an exhibition fight. Could it be a pro fight? Do you have any insight there?
I have no insight. I just know that in sports, not just boxing, but a lot of Olympic sports, we forget the concept that sports is one side, but then you also have to be able to entertain on the other side, and we're always too busy trying to separate the two. Why can't there be both? And the people who understand the concept that it's a sport of competitiveness, and it's also a sport of entertainment, and you can merge the two, now you have a better business strategy, in my opinion, because, you know, people who are boxing fans love great matches, but also they like entertainment. So I think you get a little bit of both. You got two really high-level guys in the ring, and why not see how that result comes out?
Let's talk about those results. So you got, like you said, not sure of the weight just yet, but Jake is he's a big dude, 6'1", 200 plus pounds. Tank is 5'5", $135, soaking wet most days.
That is not true.
Okay, hit me with it.
That's not true.
Clarify from educating.
Well, you're talking to a guy who's been in the game for a long time, multiple world champions from every weight class, all the way up to the heavyweight. And most of those guys from, I'm going to say, 30 specifically, from weight 130 to 168, they walk around a lot heavier than what you see fight night. Anywhere averaging between 30 and 50 pounds that I know for a fact. I've trained guys who fought 147 that walked around at 180 most of the time, but you only see them at 147. So when you talk about a guy like Tank, there's a guy, he walks around a little heavier than most people know, right? They only see the fight and the fighter. But for a lot of years, I know he walked around a lot heavier. So we'll be able to see a guy go in the ring who's a little better at handling himself than what people think. The same way they would try to say Crawford wasn't going to be ready for Canelo. Well, Crawford's not walking around at 154. He gets in the ring at 154. Crawford wasn't walking around at 40 and 47. He was walking around a lot heavier. And so they're going to get to see that. So it's going to be a more entertaining fight than what people know, especially if you're just focusing on the weight.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the naysayers, a lot of the supporters, they're all together going to be tuned in. It is a spectacle of a fight, and
Yes,
I think
it is.
as we get closer, people are going to keep, well, who's going to win? What's it going to be like, right? I got to ask you, though, because like you said, there's an entertainment factor to us, and this is grade A entertainment
Yes.
at its best. But is there an impact to Gervonta Davis's legacy if he loses to Jake Paul or gets knocked out?
No, I don't think it impacts him at all. I think that one of the things that Gervonta does, and he's shown us, that's why he's become the pay-per-view star that he is. He's not only exciting and not only a great boxer, but he's also a wonderful entertainer. People want to see some of his antics. So that's part of what we're going to see. You're going to see a show prior to the fight. You're going to see a show at the fight, and you're going to see a show after the fight. And at the end of the day, everyone wins. And let's not be clear, Gervonta Davis is a world champion. That means the boy got skills at any weight class. It doesn't matter. And I've personally been in camps and watched him do stuff that he's beat up and knocked out some pretty big people in sparring. Trust me. So the weight that people are looking at isn't going to be much of a difference. You're going to see a very competitive fight.
You know, I think, and just to kind of wrap it up, I appreciate your time, Coach. I think after the Mike Tyson fight, there were two prevailing thoughts, at least on the internet, for whatever that's worth. There was the thought process of, oh, Mike was pulling punches. He could have hurt Jake. And then there was the other, which I think is a little bit more true, which was Jake, I think he went in there, he fought Mike Tyson. And I think he realized at some points he probably could have done more than what he did. And
Yes.
he had some professional respect for him, right? Is there going to be any of that in this fight? Is Jake coming and knock Gervonta Tank Davis's head off?
I think Jake has intentions every single time to go out there to do just that. And, with Mike Tyson, it was a little bit different of a situation in regards to Mike as a legend. Mike has been out the sport for a minute, and Jake had a lot of respect for Mike. And around the fourth round, I could tell that he wasn't trying to close him. He wasn't going to close him out. And I respect him and love him for that. And when it comes to Gervonta's an active world champion. He's an active guy in his sport. There's not going to be a space where we're trying to hold back on this kid. He's a world champion, because if we hold back in him, I can promise you he has all the tools necessary to do the same thing in reverse to us. So, he's going in there to get him out of here, regardless if it's an exhibition or not.
Predictive fight for me. How you see it going?
It's an exhibition. You ain't going to really... there's no win.
Oh, there's no decision. You're right. So, but do you see Jake trying to knock him out? Do you see a knockout potentially?
Anytime Jake touches someone, he can knock someone out. He has that kind of talent and that kind of power. So, it's very possible, for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, listen, Coach, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll talk about it more this week. Thank
Absolutely.
you. All right, now. Kevin Garcia, we out. Peace.